Hey, what's going on, everybody? Sean Tipping here. I am going to be at the Australian Auto Aftermarket Expo this April, the 11th through the 13th in Melbourne, Australia, flying down all the way from Minnesota in the USA. I am super excited about this event. It's going to be a lot of fun and pretty cool trip to come down there and see everybody. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time here today to share with you the classes that I'm going to be presenting. I've got 4 different classes that I've been working to prepare and get ready. And so we're just going to spend a little bit of time here and show you what I've got coming up. So the first class that I've got is circuit testing and analysis. So this is based off of a large majority of what I do doing mobile work, right? When I'm getting called out to shops, like 90% of the diagnosis that I'm performing is just determining circuit integrity to different components, right? There can be some really what seem like crazy problems or problems that don't make sense. And most of it just comes down to being able to assess a circuit. And that sounds simple enough. And in a way it is, but there's a lot that goes into it, right? So this will be kind of beyond just your normal electrical 101. It's going to be diving into a lot of the modern vehicles and the problems that we see, but it all comes back down to being able to assess the circuit. So I'm going to give you multiple ways to do that. And that's what we want. We want multiple methods to confirm the same problem. And that way we can be very confident in saying that, yes, this is going to fix it. I'm also going to share with you testing methods, tooling that you can use. And the cool part about this is it's the same tooling that I use, and just about everything that I show you in this presentation could be had for $500 or less. You could have all the tooling necessary. Now you can go fancier and get more expensive stuff, but a lot of what I do is with some really basic tooling. It's just about having the understanding of how electricity works in these circuits to get to a conclusion. So again, I'm going to use case studies of actual vehicles that I'm out there fixing and share that with you to drive these points home, right? So again, this isn't just like a 101, here's all electricity works, here's Ohm's law. We'll be utilizing those concepts, but here's a real car, here's how it was broken, here's how I tested it, here's how you can do it. And I'm going to share with you a bunch of different tips and tricks that I use every day out there doing mobile. So that's the first class. Second class is going to be parasitic draw diagnosis, right? A lot of people in the automotive industry dislike when they get a parasitic draw diagnosis in their bay, right? These can be very challenging and time consuming to figure out on a modern vehicle. You've got so many different possibilities for where the battery current could be going when the key is off. Even just getting the car to the point so that you can test it sometimes can be challenging, and it can you can do all kinds of things that wake the vehicle back up, and then you have to wait in order to get it into its testing state again, right? So I'm going to give you again some methods that I have developed to do this when I'm out there doing mobile work that has been very effective for me, that I can get to the solution of most of these parasitic draws relatively quickly without too much headache, right? Some of these are definitely challenging, especially if they're intermittent, but I've actually taken on a couple intermittent cases just for this class. Normally, I would say no to those, but I have taken on a couple so that I could share with you my process, not only on just a regular draw, but also an intermittent draw and a draw that could be caused by a network coming awake. We see that a lot on vehicles nowadays. And I'm going to have a couple case studies there of what do we do when the whole network's awake? How do we get to the source of what's causing that battery drain? So this will be a really useful class if you're seeing those in your bays. Next one is network and communication diagnostics. I see a lot of this as well. Very typical for techs and shops to kind of shy away from this type of work. Again, because it can be challenging, overwhelming at times, and time consuming to get to the source of the problem when it comes to a network. But once again, I've developed a strategy that is effective and gets you to the solution. But this involves understanding the networks and what you need to do in order to understand the network on the car that you're working on, and then utilizing some test methods to get to the source of the problem. Once again, live case studies on this of vehicles that I am fixing out in the field with network problems. And then finally, we kind of sum everything up because this is sort of a grouping of all the other classes that I'll be talking about is how to condemn a failed control module, right? So a lot of the time, when you get to this point in your diagnostic, you're getting to the control module itself, PCM, TCM, body control, whatever it is, and you're like, I think it's the module that's causing this problem, but it's kind of just the last thing and I'm not 100% sure. Well, how do we get to be 100% sure? Is it possible in all cases? What do we do? What do we look at? What are some maybe less common testing techniques that we can use to say for sure, yeah, it's the control module that is the problem, or no, there's something else going on here. That control module is doing what it's supposed to be doing. All right, that can be a really difficult thing is the control module's doing something that you would consider faulty, but it ends up that's normal reaction to another problem. And so this class, again, something I run into all the time out in the field, shops are just throwing modules at stuff because they're out of options as far as what they can test. I want to give you some thought processes and testing methods so that when you get to that point, you're like, I think it's this module, you can do these tests and be much more confident about it. So that is what I've got for you. Those 4 classes. And again, I'm working real hard to get everything ready for the show, but I'm really excited. I hope to see you down there. And until then, let's get out there, start fixing the world one car at a time.